Section 5.3a is about the slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is a way that you can write a linear equation, and it's a special form. Here's what it looks like. Y equals mx plus b. If you notice, the y equals mx looks just like a direct variation, and it is. But what's different about the slope-intercept form is it adds this little plus b. Now when you have a slope-intercept form, just like it shows here, the m represents your slope. So whatever number is in front of the x, that number represents your slope. And whatever number is after the plus sign here represents your y-intercept. Well, what is a y-intercept? The y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. Like it shows in this picture here, all y-intercepts represent ordered pairs. The x value always is a 0, and the y value is a number based on where it is here. So we're going to be looking at the slope-intercept form right here, where the m is the slope and the b is the y-intercept. Here we have to write some equations of lines when they give us a slope and a y-intercept. So we're going to use the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And what we do now is very simple. Since the slope is 1/4, we plug the 1/4 in for the m. And since the y-intercept is -6, we plug -6 in for the b. Now for this one, instead of plus a negative, we could make it 1/4 x minus 6. And that's all we have to do, is plug in the slope and the intercept into the slope-intercept form. Second one here, write an equation of a line whose slope is 2. So y equals 2x, and y-intercept is 5, plus 5. And there you go. Write an equation of a line whose slope is 0 and y-intercept is 3. So we plug a 0 in for the slope and a 3 in for the b. Now 0 times anything is just 0, so we can write this one as y equals 3. Now this is a special line. If you remember correctly, when you have a 0 for your slope, that's going to be a horizontal line. And all horizontal lines are y equals a number. So this one is a horizontal line of y equals 3. But all you do is plug in the slope and the y-intercept into the equation and write it in slope-intercept form. Here we have to write equations of these lines, and specifically I want you to write the equations in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Well, if you're going to write an equation in slope-intercept form, you need a slope and you need an intercept. So you need both of those things. Well, if you come over to this line, you can find slope in one of two ways. Because we have a picture, we can use rise over run. So I'm going to use that one first. So my rise is going to be 1, 2, 3, down 4. So that's a -4. And my run will be to the right 2. So that's going to be a -2 for my slope. And I found that using rise and run. I could also have used the formula for slope, and I'll do that on the next one. The next thing I have to find is my y-intercept, my b. Well, that's simply where the blue line crosses the y-axis. It happens right here. And the y-intercept is that y number, so my b is 3. So we plug it in. Y equals -2x plus 3. In the next one, if you're going to write an equation in slope-intercept form, you need slope and intercept. Now this time I'm going to use the formula for slope, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And I'll use 2 minus -1. So I'm taking the y minus the y, and that means I have to do 0 minus 2. So what's that? 3 over -2. So there's my slope, 3 over -2. And my y-intercept is right here. It's where the blue line crosses the y-axis, and the y value is a 2. So y equals -3/2 x plus 2. We'll plug slope in for the m and y-intercept for the b. Here I have a linear equation that's in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b form, and I have to graph it. Well, if I'm going to graph it, I need to use the two pieces of information that I know. I know slope and I know y-intercept. I know by looking at the graph, y equals mx plus b, or the equation I should say. I know by looking at the equation that the m is 1/2 and the y-intercept is -7. Now when we say y-intercept, we mean the ordered pair 0, -7. That's what that means. So I'm going to use those two pieces of information. First of all, I know that 0, -7 is on the y-axis. So I can put that point right there. I know the line's going to go through there. And now I have to find a second point, and I can do that by using rise over run. My rise is a 1 because my slope is 1/2, so my rise of 1 and a run of 2. So I know that there's a point right there. And I can keep going with that. I can do another rise of 1, and I can do another run of 2. And 3 points is plenty, and so now I'm going to graph. So there's my line. And the way you find that is you use the slope and the y-intercept. You put your point on the y-intercept, and then you use rise over run to find your other points, and then you graph the line. Here's a line that I have to graph. There's a problem, however, is that it's not in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b is the form that we'd like it in, and it's not there quite yet. So we're going to have to do some algebra to manipulate it to get it in that form. Well, the y is isolated, so that's really the key here. So how do we isolate the y? We subtract 5x from both sides. So we have 4y equals, these are not like terms, so we have to write it as 8 minus 5x. And then divide by 4. I could divide the whole thing by 4, but I'm going to divide each individual piece by 4. So y equals 2 minus 5/4 x. Now, I'm going to rewrite this so that the x is first. And the reason I'm going to do that is because that's what slope-intercept form looks like. So we keep the negative with the 5/4, the positive with the 2. This is my new equation that I'll use. And now it's a whole lot easier to find the slope and the y-intercept because it's in the right form. Here's the y equals mx plus b form. So I can easily now see that my slope is negative 5/4 and my y-intercept is 2, which means the ordered pair 0, 2. So now I can graph. 0, 2 is here. And slope is negative 5/4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, down 5, and to the right 4. And I can put a dot there. And if I want, I could do it again. I could do down 5 and to the right 4, but 2 is enough points, so I'm going to graph it. So that's what the graph of this equation looks like. First, isolate the y so you can easily pick out the m and the b, and then use your m and your b to draw the line. Here I have to graph this equation, but it's not in the slope-intercept form. So I'll start by isolating the y, subtracting the 2x. So y equals 5 minus 2x. I'm going to rewrite that so that it looks like slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So that's the new form, and now that I can write it that way, easily I can pick out that the m is negative 2, and the b is 5, which means the ordered pair 0, 5. Now, one thing about this slope is the slope doesn't have a rise and a run. Just remember that you can write the number 2 as negative 2 over 1, and now I have a rise and a run. So we'll start with my y-intercept of 0, 5. We know the line goes through that point. And my slope is negative 2 over 1, so rise of negative 2 and a run of 1. That's a rise of negative 2 and a run of 1. So there's a point there, a point there. We can draw the line. So there you go.